Hôm nay là ngày thứ 3 ở Florida. Ba dậy sớm rồi chụp hình đợi mọi người.
Bây giờ là chuẩn bị đi chơi.
Rồi mời mọi người bước ra đi. Bé Ri, Teresa,
Ri nè, Ri ra nè.
Cậu Nam, cậu Hiếu.
Ở Florida nè, bây giờ là đi du.
Cuối cùng là Ngân.
Nắm tay rồi ghê chưa? Ghê chưa? Đi lên xe đi rồi mẹ gửi cho anh. Đi. Ok, gặp nhau Starbucks nha. Đi, Starbucks nó ngay qua mặt phải không? Dạ. Starbucks của em á. Đây. Giờ đậu ngay đó.
Rồi được rồi nè, đó lên xe đi Ri.
Hello đi.
Yeah. Và đây là hai nhân vật cuối cùng, ba Trọng và Mã Lan.
Đó, cô dâu chú rể đi ra. Đó, rồi lên xe. Lên xe đi. Đeo có xong rồi tới đó về cũng giật. Ba, lát nữa lên xe ba bỏ cái cặp táp bây giờ đi mà con nghe chưa không? Mini hết luôn hả?
Ông làm
anh
gì
Tú mini nè. Thằng trước nó không có lớn ra hả?
Kính thưa quý vị, hôm nay là ngày thứ 3 trong hành trình quậy tan nát ở Florida và kỷ niệm như là 20 năm ngày cưới của anh Hà với chị Thủy. Đêm tối hôm qua anh chị đã tưng bừng khói lửa, mặc dù chúng tôi đã đốt pháo
quá chút. Sao chưa nhìn thấy mặt nó sao luôn.
Dạ. Mặc dù là chúng tôi đã có rất là cố gắng là quậy tưng bừng trước cửa, nhưng anh chị vẫn nằm im và hưởng thụ không nói gì hết. Dạ đây, thủ phạm chính là đây đó. Mr. Hà, anh buông tay lái, anh qua nhìn. Dạ đây là Ri. Mầm non. Dạ, cũng là siêu mẫu 2 tuổi. Và đây là má của Ri. Má của Ri là hôm qua cũng là một nhân tố góp phần cho cuộc vui của anh chị thêm phần sâu sắc. Và ở dưới đằng sau đây chúng tôi có
nhân vật chính của cuộc vui.
Nhân vật chính của cuộc vui.
Đâu rồi?
Chị Thủy nói vài lời đi chị Thủy. Nói hôm qua cảm thấy sao chị? Over hả?
Thấy bàn tay đó anh Tú.
Làm sao quay được, làm sao lật ngược lại?
Rồi. Đây. Rồi qua đây. Rồi hai em muốn nói gì không? Bác cũng góp phần trong cuộc vui.
Kính thưa quý vị, trên xe chúng tôi là có đạo diễn.
Đạo diễn, kịch bản, đạo diễn hình ảnh.
Đạo diễn âm thanh khói lửa. Chúng tôi mời lên qua.
Tú cầm nữa không?
Dạ, cầm quay phía trước. Ủa cái này làm sao để chỉnh, để lắc được? Không có không.
Hình như anh lật lại vậy nè.
Nằm ngang lại.
Không được, bác chỉnh vậy thôi.
Không có chỉnh lên phía trước được đúng không ta?
Rồi giờ quay.
Kính thưa quý vị, hiện nay là xe chúng tôi đang di chuyển với vận tốc khá là cao nha. Hiện nay là đang tốc độ là 30 km/h. Đường Florida sao bác Tài? Giống như đường bên tôi nữa hả?
Giống đường đi thôi.
Người Florida sao bác Tài?
Giống như người ạ.
Nhưng mà em gái mai lên sao bác Tài? Được hả? Được.
Sao không kẹt cái này ở đây vậy?
Không có, chắc hết mẹ rồi. Đường này là dắt vô Disney World nha quý vị. Gồm có 4 khu phức hợp, các kiểu resort, rồi Animal Kingdom, rồi công viên chủ đề, rồi Animal Zoo. Chắc chuyến này vô trong đó chắc không biết người coi thú hay thú coi người ở đây. Có mấy con le que trong chuồng mà biết bao nhiêu người nói chứ.
Nó đẹp.
Safari hả?
Thú con người.
Đây đó. Bây giờ mình nhốt nó trong chuồng nhưng mà nó trong đó tụi nó nhìn ra lại nó kêu biết ai coi ai à. Ngày được cơm nước 3 cữ đàng hoàng đúng không? Được tắm rửa các kiểu đúng không? Ủa Animal Kingdom là display luôn chứ nào phải không?
Đúng rồi, nhưng mà nó mệt.
Nó mệt chưa hả? Nhận trời ở Mỹ cái đường trong xanh hả, nó nhìn nó ảo diệu tung chảo mà. Chút nữa quay nữa, ok.
Ở đây là cảnh thiên nhiên Việt Nam á. Lợi cái ghế đẳng ngồi chụp hình vậy, hai bên có hai con dừa đi kìa, nó hơi đẳng ngồi để bỏ nha. Đây là Hawaii.
Ba má đang tìm chỗ để chụp hình. Lấy ghế chụp hình không? Rồi má Lan ngồi như pho tượng à. Ngồi gì đâu chứ không kiểu cọ như pho tượng à. Ba trời ơi đây. Chiếc xe này sẽ chở mọi người đi khám phá khu bảo tồn động vật hoang dã nè. Con hươu cao cổ, rồi con gì đang chạy, rồi con sư tử hả, con gì đó. Khu này rộng 110 mẫu đất. Mọi người đã lên xe rồi đây, xe cốc cách.
Rồi ra lóc liền ha.
Nè, nói vậy là
Đây là xe vệ binh.
From this point forward, there's no more standing, seat swapping, raising up, or passing around those little ones to be able to see better out there. This is a wild animal safari. Those are wild animals out there. So for their health and safety, there's to be no eating, smoking, vaping, or flash photography on board of any kind. Animals here are very shy reclusive with a great Copy has zebra-like stripes, but it's most closely related to the giraffe, sharing a similar skull structure and long prehensile toe shape. Battle copy looks to be female.
Con ngựa thằng nó lai.
A very quick way to tell is by looking for their ossicones. Only the males have them. It's going to be cartilage that fused to their skull, almost like horns, but then covered in skin and fur. If you look at that copy, it is a very solitary animal. They mostly only gather together in times of mating or being with their young.
as we hope to catch one quick glimpse of that black rhino. No surprise, it's resting right now. They are diurnal, meaning they're active in the mornings and in the evenings, resting through majority of the day as well as overnight. They weigh 3,000 pounds, run 35 miles per hour, and only see 10 feet in front of them. So while it's resting, Nile hippopotamus. During the day, they like staying fully submerged underwater to keep cool and regulate their body temperature. Plus, they hold their breath underwater up to 8 minutes at a time, even while sleeping, which is great news for these nocturnal animals, since they mostly only make their way onto the shore at night. Although it looks like we have two that came up for a quick snack and decided to fall asleep since it's a cooler day out. They have a very similar skull structure and skin texture to that of a whale, being one of the closest living relatives to whales and dolphins.
Con hàng
Looking at
mã.
them like this, their teeth are made out of ivory, similar to those ivory tusks on elephants, but not as firm of ivory.
Vậy nè, có khách đến nhà mà.
And they weigh up to 3,500 pounds. We also have a few more off to our left. And off to our left, we have a pod of pink-back pelicans. Those pink-back pelicans get their name for that pink patch of skin in between their wings that grows brighter during mating season. Their wingspan's also 7 to 9 feet long. They like hanging around their hippos because they prefer to feed in quieter backwaters. They're one of 8 different species of pelicans worldwide, with their fossils dating back as early as 40 million years ago. Although as we keep making our way through this river, you'll notice they're not our only prehistoric friends out here. But first, we have 2 more hippos taking a nap on our shore. Oh, my heart. But crossing on over down below now, crocodiles. So do stay fully seated. They mostly eat small fish, but they also go after larger prey with that jaw-crushing power of 2,000 pounds per square inch PSI. Most of them are off towards that back shore because that's where the sun reaches their river enclosure first. And they're exothermic animals, not able to make their own body heat. They have to get that warmth from the sun instead. I see a little one's head popping up. Make sure we do have that little one sitting down on the seat or beside you. And traffic. We're going to sneak up as close as we can since it sounds like that truck behind us is trying to cross the bridge. But since we safely made it away from those 500-pound reptiles, our next stop is going to be in the savannah. Woolly cattle, white rhinos, zebras, very skin look, who all mow the grass around, making way for new plant life. And as I mentioned, even the termites play an interesting role with cohabitation out here. They make termite mounds like those up ahead. They look like tunnels. They're made out of saliva, dung, and mud. First and foremost, they're termite homes. But they're also scratching posts for these larger animals like giraffes and Ankoli cattle. And then over time, they wear them down into more of a rounded boulder shape, in which case smaller animals like the Springbok will use them as a lookout point. As we get closer to our first friend of the savannah, the Hartman's mountain zebra, they're the most social species of zebra, gathering in groups called dazzles. Where we see these two, hopefully we'll find a few more. I think I see another one walking off towards the back. They're also the only species of zebra to have that extra flap of skin on their throat, that dewlap, that helps regulate their body temperature. And starting to catch a glimpse of some of our giraffes. They are very social animals, gathering in groups called towers. Fitting name, since they stand 18 to 20 feet tall, fully grown, as the tallest land mammal. But as we hope to find one of our youngest members of our tower out here, born in June, you might see that they're pretty close to that 6-foot mark that they're born at.
Ủa con hươu cao cổ rồi mất tiêu rồi.
We're on those giraffes momentarily because off to our left, we'll start to see some African painted dogs. Might want to use this tree gap to look at the one that just lifted its head. Oh, there's a few back towards those branches as well. They're known as African painted dogs, African wild dogs, but not hyenas. They're not part of the hyena family at all. They gather in packs of 5 to 15, led by a dominant male and dominant female, although they don't care much about rank, acting more like a family. So much so that if a member of their pack were sick or injured, they would not move on until that pack member got better. They also have a hunting success rate of 95%. The only hunter on our reserve more successful is the dragonfly, with its 99% success rate with hunting, a force to be reckoned with. To our left, those are sable antelope, the symbol of our Harambe Wildlife Reserve, as they're very resilient, fierce protectors, and within a fight or flight situation, they pick fight every time. Also to our left, white-bearded wildebeest, one of the most densely populated animals on Earth after humans, gathering in herds as large as 1.5 million. You may see those striped patterns on their sides, but they're not striped animals at all. That's their sweat
Mình
rolling
đi
through
qua
their
đây
fur.
nó đi qua bạn.
Although both on reserves and out in the wild, they hang pretty closely around zebras. Like more of our dazzle, as we get closer to it, you'll see one of them is a little smaller than the rest. He was born here on this very reserve just towards the beginning of the year, so he's pretty young still. Although within minutes of being born, he, like all zebras, was up and walking around. It helps protect them from any potential predators in the area. Nature. As we get closer to more of our giraffes, I'm pretty sure I caught a glimpse of our youngest member of our tower out here. Let's get a closer look. Absolutely we did. These giraffes, being the tallest land mammal, is quite a bit of work, so you might notice some of them are eating right now, as they eat 20 to 22 hours a day. Only sleeping 30 minutes a day, broken up over different periods of time. So as they move from tree to tree, faces full of pollen, they're the world's largest
Hươu
pollinators.
cao cổ.
And their tongues are dark purple to protect from sunburn.
Nhỏ này là vỏ
To
bạch
our
yến
right,
nè.
the youngest member of our tower, born in June, and with him, a 1-year-old giraffe. Just barely turned 1
Nó
year
đi
old.
nhẹ nhàng, từ từ, tung tăng.
These giraffes with legs as long as theirs, they easily run 30 miles per hour, although that is on the slower end of things out here. For reference, the hippos we saw run 40, the rhino we saw runs 35. And those small tan antelope to our right, across from that dirt path, they run 55 miles an hour. Those are Springbok. They get their name for the springing or pronking motion they do repeatedly, especially when excited or alarmed. It's up to 6 feet in the air, or as far forward
Wow,
as
nó
13
bự
feet
quá
in
kìa,
full bound.
wow, nó gần quá kìa.
As we
Oh.
sneak past these giraffes, there are the Springbok. Also known as Watusi cattle, from the Watusi tribe who first domesticated them. Those horns span 4 to 6 feet long, but they only weigh 5 to 10 pounds each. They're incredibly lightweight for their honeycomb structures inside. It also allows blood to flow into those horns, cool off, and then enter back into their bodies, cooling those cattle down, almost like having their own portable AC right on top of their heads. I'm hoping to inspect those two baobab trees later on. It looks like we have a wildebeest herd near them. We're going to take the scenic route, heading towards these fallen down trees, hoping to find African elephants. Already catching a glimpse of some mandrills up ahead on those rocks on our left. Largest species of monkey, most colorful as well. The males weigh 100 pounds and the females weigh 35 pounds, and they're known for the red and blue color on their face that fluctuates based on their mood. Before we catch another glimpse of them, though, African elephant to our right, largest ears of any elephant species, and flapping those ears drops their body temperature up to 15 degrees. No surprise, they're both eating. They eat 300 pounds of food a day. Takes up a majority of their daytime hours as well. So specific to the African elephant, they grab things with more easily. There's two finger-like features at the end of their trunks. To our left, those mandrills. Looks like a female and one of the younger mandrills at the top of that rock.
Ủa, đây có con gì đâu?
But as we keep making our way on through, let's talk a little bit more in depth about those elephants. They were eating using those trunks on their face, and those trunks are their noses, but they use them for quite a majority of things. Breathing, grabbing food and water, and making noise, throwing dirt on their back to protect from the sun, throwing water on their back to keep cool, quite a bit. To be able to move those trunks however they need, there's 40,000 muscles in there, more than our entire body as humans. And specific to African elephants, as I mentioned, those two finger-like features at the end of their trunks. Asian elephants, whose ears were slightly smaller and rounded, only have one finger-like feature at the end of their
Đi vô
trunks.
rừng là thiên nhiên. Nó nuôi
On
thú
either
nó
side
không
of
có
that
nhốt.
trunk, they have an ivory tusk and a permanent sizer tooth that never stops growing.
Mình đi vô rừng thiên
They
nhiên.
use it for protection, poking holes in baobab trees when they need water, and scraping directly at these leaves on our right. They eat this directly, kind of like taking a vitamin, since they don't get enough vitamins and minerals from the 300 pounds of plants they eat per day. But as they face habitat loss due to the mighty coltan and deforestation, they're getting pushed on the farmers' territories, eating entire seasons worth of farmers' crops every night, striking attention from those farmers. While we work on their habitat loss, it's very important that we also help ease tensions between elephants and farmers at its source, since they're vital to the health of the savannah. A great way to help them with their habitat loss, though, recycle your coltan-rich electronics. A great way to do that is using www.earth911.com to look up your location and what you have to see where the closest area to recycle it is. Another great way is by combating deforestation by recycling and and making sure that we use more sustainable swaps. Getting closer to the baobab tree we got, certainly look like test marks on that one baobab tree. But off to our left, we also have 2 more elephants. These 2 are brothers. They can be a bit rambunctious at times, often wrestling each other to try to figure out which is the more dominant of the 2. Looks like one of those are applying that sunblock and the other one just did. They often try to spar with each other to assert dominance, but you can tell the rank of their elephants by looking at the length of the hairs on their tail. The one that was pretty well covered in mud already had longer tail hairs than the one that was reapplying that mud. So that one would be the more dominant. Making our way through this water, passing by some ducks. They're well known for being a migratory species. With these greater flamingos up ahead, they don't migrate at all. They stay in their homes for life unless they become uninhabitable, in which case they go on and find a new forever home. Greater flamingos, they're also the largest and lightest pink in color of any flamingo species. Looking across the flamboyants, those laying down right now were mostly gray with a few white spots. They're only a few months old. There's also some other who are starting to turn pink, but they're not fully pink yet. They may still have gray heads or necks or legs, and they're roughly a year old. They hatch from their eggs, a small gray bird, and then it takes 2 whole years of eating brine shrimp and other small crustaceans rich in beta-carotene before they fully become that light pink color we know and love them for. Crossing over to the other side of our savanna, as mentioned, the site's going to be more arid or desert-like. Less vegetation, more dirt, and thankfully more mud. I say thankfully because assuming they're awake and not resting right now, we might be able to find those white rhinos. They will also be pretty well covered in mud for the same reasons as black rhinos. Protect from sunburn and ticks and other parasites to attach them and help keep cool. But they do weigh a ton larger, weighing in at 5,000 pounds. They're also the most sociable of the 5 rhino species, gathering in groups called crashes. Fitting group names, since they also run 35 miles per hour, they also only see 10 feet in front of them, so put more of them together and crashes are bound to happen. But despite their less than great eyesight, they can be anywhere on this side of our savanna, so we'll keep our eyes out for them. But as we look for those rhinos, it looks like up ahead we found some cheetahs. At least I caught a glimpse of one walking around. Keep your eyes out for those cheetahs off to our left. I wonder where it went to. There it is. Walking down around the corner of that middle hill. There's a second one walking on that back hill. They have a great natural camouflage. They're also well known for being one of the fastest animals on Earth, reaching speeds of 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds. And although we're not able to see it very well right now, they have black streaks coming out of the inner corners of their eyes, like their own natural built-in sunglasses. All 3 of these things make those cheetahs great daytime hunters. As daytime hunters, it's also pretty cool that these cheetahs can chirp like birds, making them excellent bird hunters, as while they are incredibly fast, they're not very strong. Many animals their size or larger typically scare them away. Those cheetahs are also the largest cat to purr, and they can't roar like the other big cats. Which brings us to our next environment, the kopie. Many animals are hanging out on and around kopies to have the highest vantage point possible. But it's well known that lions will hang out on kopies such as this, especially thanks to one of our favorite animated films out here. During the day, lion eyesight's very similar to our own as humans. It'd be like us standing at the top rock up there looking out as far as we could. At night, their eyesight does get about 6 times better. So for that reason, among others, lions are nighttime hunters, inactive 16 to 20 hours during the day to save. Where we see him, we should be able to find at least one more lion, likely a female. They gather in size their prides in 2 or 40 lions. But really quick to our right, that brown antelope laying off in that dirt patch. He may not seem as exciting across from those lions, but that's a Bontapak, and he's very special to have on our reserve. Until 1931, there was less than 20 of them left in the world, them for total extinction. 2 females behind that male lion, and to our right, it looks like our white rhinos are coming back from their nap. And that ostrich, she's a female, her feathers are light gray, not black with white tips. Let's see everybody again from the other side. I'll let those calves get their nice cat nap in for the day. Green half animal for us to take over instead. I see some tusks sticking up from behind that fallen down tree up at the top of the hill. That might be what we see out there, plus a few tufts of hair. Now those warthogs, like I mentioned, they don't like digging their own burrow. How large their eyes are. Their brain is smaller than just one of them by itself. Per hour, a kick strong enough to break bone, a peck strong enough to open ostrich eggs as well. Like those ostrich eggs down below on the right by our white rhinos. Very bloody white rhinos. Those eggs weigh 3 pounds each, or 24 chicken eggs by comparison. Both males and females nest in those eggs, and they're strong enough that we as humans stand on them without them cracking. Back to those white rhinos, if you saw that dip in their back or that concave forehead, two of the best ways to identify them as the southern white rhino specifically.
Nãy mình đi qua con Hà Mã chưa ta?
As we head on into our fourth and final part of our reserve, Pagani Glen.
Đã đi qua rồi.
Pagani translates into spring or geyser in Swahili, perfect spot for our workers to set up posts. Especially since back in December, our
Nhiều
wardens
con
acquired
vì mình
Nigerian
ngồi
dwarf
xa quá,
goats. As the name
ngồi trên
implies, they are
xe
small,
không có
carefully
tới
grown
gần
as
để
well.
mà quay được,
We don't take up very many
nên cũng
resources,
không có
so
thấy
it's a
được
great
hết tất cả
collaboration
các
between them and our
con
wardens.
thú ở trong đây.
As our wardens protect and feed these small goats, they'll provide those wardens some nutrients
Làm
and
sao
milk
dám đi
high in
bộ?
protein, rich in fat content, comparable to buttermilk.
Thịt
It's
cái
very
xong
easy to
rồi.
turn the cheese and give to the villagers, making them less reliant on wildlife. Each of these small goats produces between 1 and 8 pounds of milk a day, roughly 2 pints. They're social and able to establish dominance mostly by way of headbutting, which if you ever get a chance to see it, they go all in.
Sư phụ.
You may notice two of those goats are standing under a yellow beehive as well. And while those bees don't seem to bother these goats very much, the Elephants and Bees project takes hives just like that to create beehive fences around farmers' crops. It's enough to scare elephants away. It's going to be the one on the right because it looks like an elephant at this angle. It might just be me, but I love that waterfall regardless. But it is bittersweet as it means we are officially back to Harambe. So Asante Sana for joining me out here and for your extended patience during that giraffe stop. Once again, my name is Abby, and I spell it with an I at the end because at the end of the safari, if you have any questions, I am right up front. It has been my pleasure being your safari guide, your animal spotter, and thankfully not your ostrich tamer. If I have any wilderness explorers on board, a special Asante Sana for you as you've been riding on board the Simba 1.
Cái nước còn ngon ha, nước rẻ ha.
Cái cảnh khác ở Florida, ở trong cái chợ thú của Florida. Người ta khen đủ được, quá tuyệt vời.
Đi